Welcome to the Casual Nerdcast. I am your host, Justin. Joining us as per usual, Andrew,
Hello, I'm eating a tomato.
Amal,
I'm not eating a tomato. I'm jealous.
and Evan.
Only a little bit.
Oh my god.
Dude!
What was that?
The
That was him being unique.
worst. I hate you so much.
I think he just made him lose his appetite.
All right. So let's get things started off with the podcast. So mostly this podcast is not going to present any kind of new news. This week has been relatively dry. If anything, we got confirmation of something that was speculation. So to start off, last week we briefly had a friendly wager among us nerdcasters, and
Wait, there was money on this?
well, that's why I said it was friendly, because if it was a real
Casual.
wager, it's a casual.
Oh, no. See, money wagers are friendly. It's just if you don't pay me, I break your shins.
That's when it gets unfriendly.
Yeah, but up until that point, it's purely friendly.
True.
All right, so Minecraft was actually the developer actually was bought out by Microsoft. It was completely confirmed. Speculation was originally $2 billion. We have a video. I will post it somewhere. The description
There.
somewhere in the video annotation somewhere in there. I'm gonna post it. But more or less, we had our predictions. Some of us were right. Well, not exactly right. Some of us are not exact. For basically, we didn't expect this to go higher than it did. Minecraft Mojang was bought for $2.5 billion instead of the speculated $2 billion. Damn.
What he means to say is we all either said they're not going to get bought or they are, but it'll be cheaper. We were all wrong and I was the most wrong. So they're going to spend the next 45 minutes grilling me.
Nah, we're not gonna grill you.
Maybe
Nah.
30 minutes. That's cool, right?
No, you just have to pay us.
Where's our money, man?
No.
Well, that's what you're going to spend the half hour grilling me about. That'll eventually buckle and be like, okay.
All right.
2.5 billion. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Funny part is, Microsoft analysts are like, yeah, we'll probably make that back by June next year.
What?
Yeah.
Did they say that?
Yeah, Microsoft analysts, they're like, to be honest, we think we can make this at the rate that it's selling.
Hmm.
We'll be making this back.
How many people are in this world that there's still still people buying Minecraft?
But it's like,
Arguably, they just released it on PS4, and that's 10 million. That's 10 million people that
Yep.
don't have it.
all right.
yeah, like Minecraft was still like I think third bestseller last month on the PlayStation 3 or some market.
Wow.
And considering how long ago it came out, it's like most people are like, all right, we release a game, and whatever we sell in 2 weeks is probably what we're ever going to sell ever. This Minecraft thing is like, Minecraft came out alpha and like before we started university 4 years ago. It's
Yep.
still
True.
selling like hot cross buns.
All right, so rather than talking about this purchase, because if you guys been following us on our podcast, we've had a huge discussion about its value, what we thought it might be. That you can refer to the last week's podcast, which I will maybe put somewhere in the video description link, whatever.
You have to click on Justin's nose, that exact pixel. That's
Yeah,
what
there's an annotation right there.
Right
Right
there,
Don't
there.
move for the
right
next
there.
few seconds.
I can't move.
That,
One
now you got to put an annotation there.
All right. Okay, so let's make this a much more broader general discussion. Arguably, but I think for the most part, most will agree that Mojang is what started the, I guess the wave of indie development video game companies.
That's a good way of saying it, yeah.
Arguably, so seeing Mojang get bought by a corporation, that kind of probably puts a dent in the survivability rate of indie companies. More so the fact that a lot of companies probably look up to Mojang and say, wow, they were the company that kind of started me into making this company. They were the company we looked up to when we were struggling, and or they were like the inspiration, whatever it may be. Mojang was more than just a company. I would say it was a symbol during its time period of it being independent. A lot of people were inspired to go out and just, maybe in their garage, in their basement, whatever, start programming a video game. now that Mojang has been bought, do you guys think that this, in any way, shape, or form, influences how the future of independent video game companies will be now? Kind of, is that like basically the end all of all indie companies now? Is that
God, I hope
basically?
not.
Yeah, that's. I really hope not. But like, do you think?
So morbid.
Do you think there's a place in this world for indie companies that can strive and maybe even be, let's say for instance, a competitor to larger video game brands or publishers?
I don't know. It's the indie landscape has expanded so much over those last, I guess, 2-3 years because Mojang set all that into motion, right? Now, if we look at absolutely nothing else and just Steam, just the greenlight feature alone has greenlit so many different games that are, some of them are actually pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Humble Bundles, which started around the same time and slowly gained traction, and now they're massive.
Yeah,
But people
but
are exposed to these so much that they might even be oversaturated. We might be on the opposite spectrum.
right. But now think of it like this: if Mojang was the one that kind of started it, that means they've been here longer than anybody else.
Absolutely.
So I mean, like if Mojang got bought, then what? Implication wise, does that necessarily mean that all indie companies will follow a similar route, that they will get bought?
I think one of the key factors about this, though, is that as much as Mojang got bought, Notch did not. Right? And Notch is the kind of... He was the original developer, designer of Minecraft and stuff like that, right? So as much as the idea of Minecraft got bought, I don't really think it did really. Notch just kind of handed it off to somebody else, and now is going to go do other things. I think that's definitely a key factor in it.
Yeah, he's kind of been like that for a bit, actually. So.
Yeah.
And I also think that, like Mojang and Notch have sort of been the poster boy for like indie developers. Like Amel said, the scene has grown to a point where it's pretty self-sustaining. There are like all these different venues and avenues people can get their game stuff. Like I don't know, but apparently PS4 is really easy to develop for as an indie developer. There's Steam Greenlight, there's like Kickstarter stuff, and we've talked about our opinions on that. And like there's a lot of big companies have even sort of gone backwards, not backwards, implying that it's worse, but like sort of gone more old school and gone like indie, like Double Fine. Tim Schafer and his company used to make sort of AAA games like Brutal Legend, and now they've sort of been like, you know what?
Brutal Legend is the game that you're going to pick. You're not going to pick Psychonauts, Grim Fandango.
That was their last big one, and I would say Grim Fandango. Like their indie games are sort of closer to Psychonauts and Grim Fandango.
And
now that they don't have the new AAA, the indie now was sort of the AAA back then.
Yeah,
that's actually an interesting point. Is that cool.
Yeah. No, I was
gonna say it, and then you just said it. So
yeah, I was just about to add. Like I remember, I forget if it was an article or an interview with Ubisoft saying that they've made smaller development teams to work on games that are basically more indie style. Arguably, whether or not they're indie style or whatever you want to call it, but they are smaller development teams. And we have had games where Andrew, I believe you played Valiant Hearts.
Yeah.
That was a byproduct of that, in addition to Child of Light. Yeah. Those. So I mean, like, it's definitely clear that the phase of indie has even influenced AAA publishers.
Mm-hmm.
But does that mean, like, let's say for instance, yes, Mojang, like it's there and it kind of influenced, but does that mean like, is that now the end goal for indie companies, or do you think there's a room for them to basically grow as like a competitor to such a state that like they can actually stack up against, you know, Blizzard or Ubisoft, or like, do you guys think that indie companies will ever have the opportunity to grow that big?
It's hard to say though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's also this is an interesting time because we're in like this sort of, gaming has been around for a while, but we're still sort of in the infancy stage. Like when they talk about it, like 50, 60 years, we'll be able to say like, oh, like I was there when it all started. Like it was an interesting time to live in. So it will be interesting to see like 50 years from now if there sort of is a new Mojang that's a company that's worth $5 billion and they're completely independent and they just do their own thing, or if they sort of do, I don't know, like the music or the film industry, where like the indie stuff is still kind of like smaller scale, and then you have Hollywood. It's like the big thing. I don't know.
Well, I think it's fairly safe to say that Minecraft came out in kind of the perfect time,
Mm-hmm.
where there was a lot of just the same stuff coming out constantly, right? And then it hit, and it was like, holy shit! Like this was made by one guy, and I think it was just one guy the entire time, even in the beginning, right? And it was just like, holy shit! Like this game's amazing, and everybody kind of went crazy because it was something so innovative and so new. And I think the fact that the indie game scene is flooded as much as it is, I don't think we're ever going to see something get as big as Mojang again.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But
Even Notch just said he's like, I can't do game two. I'm never going to make
Right.
it.
He didn't want to get big in the first place.
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's the same thing in music where you had the whole Beatles thing happen, right? Where the Beatles were so big because they were one of the few bands that could make it around the world and everybody loved them, right? But now
Right.
that everybody can do that, you're never going to see a band get as big as the Beatles because everybody can listen to whatever they want instead of being like, oh, there's just this one band that I can go and see and they're really good. It's like, oh no, like, I can still go see whatever. I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with video games, and that's not a bad thing. It's not at all because it just means more variety. Minecraft came out and it was awesome. It was new. It was innovative. It was also kind of the only thing out there other than AAA games.
Right.
But now there's so much that I actually didn't really like Minecraft, but I played it because it was there. But now there's so many other indie games that I can go and actually play what I want to play instead of only play the thing that was available.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's also like a matter. It's always just a matter of timing. That like Minecraft was definitely placed in a very good time. It's interesting to see that a lot of people are still trying to break new ground. I mean, arguably, whether or not Star Citizen will ever reach that point, I guess that's time will tell. But yeah, because I mean, it's interesting to see that like there are still strong indies out there.
Yeah, I'm not. This is not me saying that it's never going to happen. I mean, there's always going to still be those random star games that come out, like DayZ and stuff. But that was a good indicator. Just this random game hit and everybody wants to play it and everybody loves it and blah blah blah.
Yeah, because actually, as I was kind of looking into like Microsoft buying Minecraft, I kind of thought back and I was just kind of realizing that, Facebook is technically indie as well, is it not?
What do you mean by that?
Well, because they were started off by like one person, making a website successfully, and the next thing they grew, they had enough money that they kind of just bought another indie company. So I was wondering if.
I mean, like even Microsoft and stuff was technically that, right? Like everybody started out like that.
I guess technically every company.
There's a point when everyone goes.
Yeah,
Every
but I mean,
company
like,
started out with one guy going, "What if I did this? Would that make money?"
right? But I mean, the difference here is that Facebook was far more recent versus Microsoft is like they basically grew at a time where there are other bigger companies out there, and they were able to kind of strive and not get bought out by, for instance, Google, or because I remember there was speculation back in the. There's something about someone wanting to buy Facebook because they wanted to make some sort of. I think it was Google. I don't know anymore. But anyways, like it was just interesting to see that, Facebook was able to strive in an environment and not get bought out, and even bought other companies.
Right.
Well, within the span of like Facebook, what came out 2005, 6,
Around there.
something like that. It only made its debut like a lot later on in the years, but I mean like within like 5 to 10 years, they're already buying like other smaller companies. So it's interesting to see like if, say for instance, video game companies could ever get to that level, or is AAA titles kind of monopolized by the publishers and they're just taking over certain companies to kind of just do their bidding, which is what we're kind of seeing here.
Well, it's also just a fact of games cost a lot to make, and while they do pay well, it's difficult to make a game that pays well. Something like Facebook is kind of a different beast because, I mean, the act of being social is something that most of the population wants to do.
Right.
Playing a video game is slowly becoming something everybody wants to do, but it's if you make a really, really, really good shooter, you're not going to get all the people that like JRPGs. right, and stuff like that. It's just market capture.
So I guess
Right.
it's just like demographics are far smaller.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I mean, that's not to say that somebody might not come out with this game that's just ridiculously amazing and takes the market. I mean, it's impossible to say that that's not going to happen because we don't know. Um, but it's a lot harder now than it was 6-7 years ago.
Someone needs to make Facebook the game. That would sell.
I mean, there's already the movie.
I think that was called Farmville.
Huh,
Basically.
that's a very good way of putting it.
And everybody did play that game.
Okay, very good, interesting
You looked
discussion.
so sad when you said that, and everybody played that.
It's because my name is Andrew. And well, maybe you get this. So my name is the first on that list when they're like, send 25
Yep.
notifications today. So it's
Yep.
like, oh, hi, 90 people that I've never spoken to in the last 3 years ever again.
I know that feel. I started blocking people, and then I eventually realized you can block the app. It was not very pleasant, to say the least. I understand completely.
Because there's the thing being me. When I get a notification, when I see that little red flag and a number, I'm like, oh my goodness, someone cares. And it's like, Farmville.
And then you realize, somewhat off topic, then you realize in Facebook you can subscribe to people, and every time they post something, you get a notification. So now I get like 10 a day, and it's not even this special anymore because I'm following like Mobile Syrup and Canada Computers and stuff.
Andrew, you should also look closely. We're all wearing red. Does that make you excited?
Oh snap!
Oh, shoot. It's time to get the memo.
This is turning on.
Okay, so let's move on to our next topic. So I'm basically using the Verge, and I've always been using the Verge. But anyway, this story dates back about 2 to 3 weeks, maybe almost a month. Felt a bit shamed that we didn't really cover this, but we kind of implied it ish with the discussion regarding Ubisoft's lack of female characters. In an Assassin's Creed Unity multiplayer. So, Andrew, why don't you take lead on this one?
Yeah, sure.
You're probably the most well informed with regards to this. So let's just kind of give a background to who exactly is Anita
Sarkeesian.
Sarkeesian. I already asked you before. And I still can't read it. And ask her her involvement and what she's done and why she's currently under fire, I guess you can call it.
Yeah, like Evan and I talk about her sometimes, but she's
really cool.
Yeah, she's like a smart intellectual. Basically, she critiques media, and a few years back she started, and she's also a feminist. A few years back she started a video series called Female Tropes versus Women in Video Games. That's what it's called. Just Google it, and they're like really intellectual, not really intellectual, but they're like smart, well-spoken, just critiques of video games, most of them very popular ones. And she's very like coherent, very succinct, and smart about her critiques. And most of her points are pretty valid. Like I agree with most of their points. Like any intellectual, I don't really agree with everything she says, but
one interesting thing about her videos that I find is that she'll go on for like I think one of the first video games in Female Tropes or whatever episode. She'd be bringing up a point. I'm like, oh, but what about this character? This character totally disproves her point. And then her next sentence is, and this character's the worst. And I'm like, well, fuck, I'm an idiot. Then she explains why I'm dumb, and I'm like, yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah.
It's really humbling and kind of frustrating to have someone very smartly explain to you why certain things that you loved, there's like a sort of dark side to them that you just were blind to. And like that's something that I really had to come to terms with. Anyways, long story short, she makes these videos. Believe it or not, some people on the internet are not happy about that.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, all of the comments
What?
aren't just discussion and sort of talking back and forth respectfully. You would not believe that it was not the case. And
These are the worst internet comments I have ever read.
Yeah.
They are horrible.
yeah, it's pretty bad. And the sad part is she's actually like gone used to it over the years. She's been someone like she's gone on TED Talks and talked about it, but now the one got really specific. the last couple of months ago where someone gave her like her parents' address, and like threatened to kill her parents or something. She got taken in, not into custody, into protective something by the authorities. Yeah, and it just exploded after that, and it got a lot of attention.
She stayed at her friend's house, looks like, for the first couple days. And
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It got a lot of media attention, and now everyone's sort of throwing their 2 cents in. Some of it, and a lot of and the reason it started to blow up is a lot of games journalists, people started getting into it, and then it sort of snowballed into this thing about like, oh, like all these game journalists are like feminists, like destroying our video games, and some people are like, no, like we have to think about these things, and it's just been, for lack of a better term, it's been a giant clusterfuck of opinions, and but I think we want to focus a bit on like females in video games, and not just like video game characters, but actual people. Like I guess, what's your opinion on like feminism? Not necessarily feminism, like females in video games, like whether you're a girl gamer or a girl character.
Oh, you're expanding beyond just the girl character, because we kind of did that a few podcasts.
Yeah. Let's focus on like people, I guess. We have to, you're right.
People online, no matter where you go, if you are a girl gamer, you are bound to get harassed one way or another. Like
another. Does anybody know that Ashley Birch? Like, hey Ash, what you playing?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't believe so.
It's a really, really funny web series that you should watch. Their web series actually got them a writing gig for Borderlands 2. So most of the jokes in Borderlands 2 are written by them, and it's fucking hilarious. Anyways, I was talking to a friend about this actually a couple days ago, about this whole issue, and he posted to me a WordPress, which is literally just why Ashley Birch sucks and so does her work.
Huh.
And it's just an entire blog that's towards hating her. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very pleasant.
No, it's ridiculous what people will go to. But anyways, it's not easy. I mean, did this happen with other media? Did this happen with TV?
That's something that I always come back to.
Not nearly as much.
Like,
I don't know, because we can't really say that though, because we like the beginning of movies was like 100 years ago almost, right? Like,
that's also the thing. The beginning of movies is 100 years ago, where one random person, couldn't go on the internet and just talk about how much he feels about this and have people listen to him or her. Like,
yeah.
True. I think with movies there's I think it was less about feminism and genderism, but more so racial. I don't know if that's just me, if I noticed some things, but like there's some movies that you clear are dominantly of one gender and some of them dominantly of another gender. And I'm not talking about like movies that are clearly, international, like, Bollywood movies have like, just Indians. Like that makes sense because it's a Bollywood movie. But I'm talking about like even in movies in Hollywood where you like it's like, the entire cast is of a certain a certain cast is of a certain race and another.
Oh, I understand.
But they're both coming from Hollywood. They're both, they're coming from like the same North American region. It's just they're completely, certain race, and it's just like it's interesting to see. Like I'm seeing less and less of that now, which is good. I'm seeing it, I mean, like that, with time everything kind of combines eventually. I think the bigger issue might be that with regards to tying this all back to video games, it's interesting that a lot of people probably didn't realize, because there's a general stereotype that's always going to exist no matter how hard you try to eliminate it. Stereotype that girls just don't game.
Right.
That's a stereotype. I'm not saying that's true or not, and because just disclaimer everywhere disclaimer. This video clip will get cut out and have me out of context everywhere, and I'm gonna get in trouble so much.
Girls don't game. Stats show like 49% of people who play video games are female.
Exactly, and it's like, and it's definitely not true. The case nowadays is that females, they game, they exist. There are female gamers out there, whether they're playing Pokemon, whether or not they're playing StarCraft. Hell, there was oh my God, there was a Canadian, she was playing StarCraft and she was pretty good at it too.
Oh, Scarlet.
She was she the one that no she put her med school degree on hold for this.
Oh, Linda something. She was like a StarCraft professional.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what she's doing now. I don't remember her name anymore. But anyway,
I know her because she used to go to my alma mater, like Queen's University.
Oh,
Linda Liu, I think her name is.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we're definitely talking about two different people because I don't that name doesn't sound familiar. But that is enough evidence to suggest that there are at least 2 or 3 professional female StarCraft players, and it's already like it's. I don't even know how to go about saying this. It's like it's definitely not dominant, especially if there are people of the female. Well, I'm losing my words here. If there are females that are playing StarCraft professionally, that is enough evidence to suggest that it's not a one-sided thing.
But it's not even necessarily about the fact that females are playing this. It's just the fact that there was a bunch of videos that were really intelligently thought out. Yes, for most of them they did bash on a medium that all of us love, but they're very intelligent, very well thought out, and most of the time she flat out says she does point out areas in which there are games that do good in in a bunch of the episodes that she has, but she loves the medium as I'm fairly certain she loves the medium as much as we do.
Mm-hmm.
right.
It's just a matter of people are assholes.
Yeah.
like
Behind a computer screen.
Yep.
yeah, and this also happened to Zoe Quinn or whatever recently. She had there's a little bit of a different story with her as well, but it's just the fact that I think this is more of an issue to do with gamers in general are a very bad community. They can be a very bad community, and they don't take criticism lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm showing
I think that's a problem.
I'm just kind of showing the article now about Zoe Quinn. Do you want? Who knows the story better? I don't know this quite as well.
It's also entwined. Like Anita Sarkeesian got sort of under fire because she was sort of defending. Basically, Zoe Quinn makes a video game called Depression Quest. It's supposed to help people get through depression, or
Right,
like
that's the
other
one.
people. It's like to educate awareness, that kind of a video game. Came out around the time Robin Williams died of he committed suicide because of depression. So that's how it gained so much traction, and then people shot her down for it. Made stuff happen about her boyfriend and her sleeping with James. That's where the story gets a little murky for me. And
Yeah.
got a whole lot.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see how proactive the internet has gotten, whether or not it being good or bad. The internet has banded together to do some pretty good things.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, but then the same amount happens. The internet has banded together to do some pretty bad things as well, and death threats. Oh my God.
Yeah, like to me, the bottom line is that a lot of people, like, I love video games. We all do.
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, like, video games isn't the only thing. Like, it's not, gamer is like a huge part of our identity, but there are other parts of our lives that are important to us. Family, friends, like significant others. Well, for you three at least. But,
Sues.
I think, I don't know, because I haven't met any of these people personally, but this is like systemic of people who find something, like their identity is so tied up in one thing, and when that thing comes under fire, you defend it vehemently, and like I think that's a bit of a problem. Like Shakespeare said, everything in moderation. anything in a huge amount is a poison to you. And some people, I think, their identity is too tied up in this medium, in this hobby, that or this art form, whatever you want to call it, that it sort of poisons their outlook.
Mm-hmm. And it's just the fact that they're so tied into it that their perception has to be the correct perception.
Yeah.
And the fact is that when they're shown a different perception, because like I think it's also the fact that some people play video games to kind of escape reality of the real world. And when you're playing that video game, you kind of just forget, and you're in, I guess, what you might call a sandbox. And then when your source of happiness is being shown in such a poor, disgusting manner that you never thought of before, I'd say it caused some kind of anger, which might be another factor to contribute to this angry mob of gamers that are constantly harassing.
I mean, me and Andrew kind of said as well, it's really easy when you're watching her videos to kind of be like, oh, well, like, what? No, you're kind of... It's really easy to fall into that when you're watching her videos. I think that she definitely could maybe do a little bit of a better job of not seeming so antagonistic in her videos. But she has no reason... Like, there's no reason that she should have to be less antagonistic in her videos. Like that's ridiculous of me to say, but she does have a very much when she does during her videos, she does have a very kind of air about her that kind of makes you feel like she's being antagonistic. But I mean, a good example of just two videos that are doing very similar things. Ego Raptor recently released another sequelitis where he rips on Ocarina of Time. He rips it to shreds. Right, and I just quickly skimmed through the comments of it. There's a lot of hate here because he's ripping on Ocarina of Time, but none of it's that bad. Like none of it, like a lot of it's just kind of your general internet. Like, is this guy fucking insane? Like, what's he doing? Ocarina of Time's greatest game ever made. But
Evan, are you ready to bear the responsibility once you put your video up?
Sorry. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. I don't know. I just and then you go to her videos and there's such a contrast there, which I think is interesting. And I honestly do wonder, because there is the obvious difference of she's fighting for feminism and he's just talking about games. There's also the difference of she's a girl, he's a guy, and I don't really think that that's as big a difference as people are making it out to be. But there's
I think it's less. It's less, her being a girl and him being a guy. I think it's more so that because it's branded as feminism, because there's such a strong, what's the word for it? Negative connotation to the word feminism, that the moment anyone hears it, it's like, oh, you're a feminist, or oh, like, I don't want to deal with you kind of thing. Like, it's predominantly there, and I've noticed it quite a bit. Even though, like, a lot of people think that feminism is just like, women rule the world. That is not the case at all.
Most certainly not the case at all.
It is not the case at all. But that is the general perception of what feminism is, according to, if you ask anybody. Because feminists have to kind of fight for an equal right, and they have to prove themselves at that. But at the same time, it's like, they... By proving something, you're in a way kind of bringing down something else, and I think that's that's the misinterpretation there. It's the fact that people feel like they're under attack anytime they hear oh, you're a feminist. I don't feel like talking to you because I feel like you're just gonna offend me or something.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the stronger case here with regards to what you described to about Ego Raptor ripping on Ocarina of Time. I think it's just that, he's doing a critique on a game, showing what's, what this game has and what the game is lacking. I don't know. You could probably tell me better than what I just described about what Ocarina of Time, like basically what his review was saying. but you know, it's different when there's there's I guess you can call social attributes when it's like way of living and like how you usually live and that kind of stuff. I think it's just the fact that like yeah, like I said, it's just that the feminism has such a strong connotation to it that it's just people just don't like dealing with it, and it's like I bet you any of those people who watched that video, the fact that it said Feminist Frequency, like as that's the name of her YouTube account, they were probably already mad just from that, like not even watching the video.
I think the biggest takeaway from this is go watch the videos. They're really good. I would highly suggest it. Make your own, because we can't really come to a conclusion here. I mean, in the end, it sucks that her life was threatened.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible that she, put all this work into something and her life was threatened over it. But go watch the videos. They're really interesting. If you get antagonized over it, just try and get over it, because there's a lot that has to be said there, and there's a lot that games can learn from what she has to say.
Exactly.
And I think that's the key point, is that she's right. She's very right. But yeah.
And Amel is kind of signaling me on the side here to link the videos in the description, which is totally a good idea. We'll link you the account in case you want to see anything interesting, and we'll link you like the playlist for the I guess for the videos. I highly suggest it. It's definitely very eye-opening, for things that you generally perceive as like, oh, there's you can play as a female character, you can play as a male character, whatever. It's pretty gender equality. But then when you kind of look a bit more into it, it's when you realize, wow, this is not right at all. And I think there's something to be said, and I think that there should be something done with the game industry to kind of move forward, and hopefully we can see a resolution of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is one. Yeah, the takeaway is try and watch her videos, but also just be a person. You don't even have to be a good person. Just be a capable human being, and at least on the internet. Like some of this stuff is repulsive.
Don't be a mongoloid.
Yeah.
They all suck. And this can be said. Yeah.
Yeah, like our support and wishes go. I think I can say for us that we hope that these people get through this.
Because I mean, like she's probably not alone in this. To be quite honest, I mean there must be a pretty big group of people like elsewhere, obviously, that aren't in the spotlight, that are probably still undergoing the same kind of harassments anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, she's still undergoing it. I read an article that she was I think this was last year or this year. I didn't really read the article in too much, but she was supposed to host a game show or something, and then there was a bomb threat on the building if she didn't step down. Like, what the fuck?
What? That's just not cool.
So, internet, calm down. An opinion is not the end of the world. If you want to enjoy your games in a certain manner, do it in your own manner. It's
Without
not.
threats.
There's absolutely no point in you trying to get do bomb threats. If just don't do it. Just stop. Keep playing your video games and just forget she exists if you really don't care. For those who want to know more about the game industry and why it has its share of flaws, proceed. But proceed with an open mind.
That's the only way you learn. And really, that's all we want to do in this world, is to learn more and to become better people.
Yep.
And to make better games.
Has she kind of basically become like the Edward Snowden of video games? Is she just like
Oh jeez.
presented a lot of information and now she's like on the run? Is that what's happened?
Pretty much.
All right. Well, we wish her the best, and we wish her to be in safe hands, and hopefully things die down for her.
No.
All right. So let's move on to our final topic, to something a bit less heavy. Basically.
Oh man, for me this is way heavier than. No, I'm kidding.
It's just death. we're about to talk about.
You can't
I
even.
know.
It's
Just pure
death.
death.
Pete,
And also the fact that I might not be able to do it anymore. Like, oh my god, what am I gonna?
All right, so basically, there's an opinion piece that was written on Kotaku headlining the death of deathmatch, how multiplayer is changing. So its argument is mostly saying that deathmatch is more or less something that's fading. It sooner or later is not even going to exist. And to kind of provide examples, the most recent release of probably the most successful video game franchise sale in history as far as we know up to this point, Destiny, making boatloads of money. So I said boatloads because now you can watch this video and it's still going to be true. What else? Borderlands, kind of similar style, that kind of thing. Even Titanfall arguably has deathmatch in it, but it's not even something that's pinnacle. It's more so the game mode called attrition, where you have minions and you shoot minions. You have titans, you can call them titans. You get points rather than requiring yourself to kill players. There's also the upcoming The Division. Journey is another good example. Journey is just like very mysterious in its ways of multiplayer. Can any of you guys name any other multiplayer games that are not deathmatch?
Huh.
A lot.
Minecraft.
Even
Minecraft. Yeah, Minecraft.
I mean, yes. Did we mention Battlefield and COD? Because they're like halfway there.
COD.
I'd say those two are still pretty. Or maybe not.
Battlefield, I agree.
Deathmatch
Yeah.
mode.
Battlefield, I agree.
Yeah.
Because Conquest is pretty different from deathmatch.
That's
Where
the premiere. But
where-
COD is still deathmatch is still pretty.
COD, arguably I'd say is still gonna be around for a bit. So I basically I skimmed through this Kotaku article because I already know what this guy was talking about. Whether or not he has good arguments for it or not, I apologize. I've now placed this question onto you guys: is the death of deathmatch coming?
I think it's always going to be something that's out there. I mean, even in Destiny, I do enjoy the clash mode. It is fun, but I think we're just kind of evolving as game players as well. I mean, I'm trying to think of a good example of this, but I mean, platformers have even evolved, right? In Mario, you just went left to right, and now we get stuff like
Assassin's Creed.
Well, he's talking from the
Yeah.
platformer standpoint.
Fine then. Mirror's Edge.
yeah,
Oh,
sure. Yeah, like I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I think people are just looking for a deeper experience. And deathmatch can definitely be fun, and it really is. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just having to capture some points alongside with that is. And also, I think because of that, people are starting to realize that you generally get a player who cares a bit more when you go to the other modes.
Right.
Right, deathmatch just tends to kind of be the garbage dump of players.
That's
Garbage dump.
at the moment, yes.
Quote: deathmatch, garbage dump of online players. Evan Ultra. 2014.
Evan,
people just
2014,
keep
yeah.
Making gifts out of this entire episode. That's hilarious.
So it turns out Justin is a racist and completely hates females.
Oh, jeez.
Everything's gonna be out of. Oh my god.
Evan calls video game people garbage dump.
Hey! Only people who play deathmatch.
Ah.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think, Andrew, Amel? What do you guys
Yeah.
think about deathmatch?
I agree mostly with Evan. Also, just from a like a designer standpoint, people like to sort of be social together. So people like to play and like do cool stuff together. But also, just designing like a co-op multiplayer game is way easier to balance than a PV like deathmatch multiplayer mode. Like, I see a lot of co-op multiplayer. We talked about co-op before, and we see that a lot more. And it's just a lot easier to be like, you know what? We have an OP gun, but they're using it against the computer, so we don't need to balance it. It's fine. Just keep it in. Throw it in there.
unless it's some sort of competitive situation. Like,
Even then,
Well,
it's
but that doesn't matter that much as long as the other player has the ability to get that item as well.
Yeah.
Right? It's like in Diablo. Somebody can
Actually,
have
that's-
a crazy overpowered thing, but it's like, oh, but I have the ability to get it too. He just got it first. So.
right, but I mean, like, it's with respects to like something like different classes.
yeah. But when was the last time you saw like people get upset over balance issues in a PVE like co-op thing? No one's like, man, that monk's healing ability just heals my teammates so fast. I hate it.
Fuck the monks. Oh man, it was monks and warlocks were reasons why I couldn't get into raids for months.
To be
God.
fair, that's what Blizzard
Fuck them.
thinks too. That's what Blizzard thinks too. Fuck the monk.
Like, it's
They
just
hate 'em.
easier to balance for co-op because you don't have to balance.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
too
As
much.
much.
I think
You still
yeah.
want the game to be fun.
Well, even if the computer is like overpowered, some people really like that. Like if it's
No,
like
no,
a
I
mode-
meant I meant from the player perspective.
Oh,
Just keep
yeah,
having
that's
more
true.
big guns. At that point, it's just one-shot everything. Why am I playing this game anymore?
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting to see that even I've known from like personally that I've actually played a lot less deathmatch ever since I don't even know when the last deathmatch I played was. Might have been Titanfall because I accidentally clicked deathmatch.
There's a interesting I guess thing to see here because we all of us we grew up on Counter-Strike and Quake. Give it another
Counter-Strike for me.
to an extent. When you go to multiplayer shooters, all you had at the time was deathmatch.
What was the first multiplayer shooter I played? This is
For me, it was
embarrassing.
pretty much Call of Duty 4. That was kind of the first time I really got into a
Oh,
online
okay.
shooter.
I'm talking about even before that.
My first shooter was Modern Warfare 2. Please don't kill me.
That's okay. That's okay.
Wrong with
Yo,
it.
Justin, I forgive you because you grew up playing strategy games.
That's true.
And that's cool, because I did too. I just had a soft spot for shooters at the
I
time.
mean,
and now
technically,
I've
my
kinda
first, technically my first shooter was Renegade, but not many people know what that is.
Yeah, but even then, Renegade's got a lot of different game modes too, where you got like a base and destroying, and yeah, from the first decade, right? Command and Conquer thing.
No, I owned Renegade.
Oh shit, you fancy? I didn't. I bought it in the first decade. Anyway, point I'm getting at is at least I guess for Andrew and me, and I guess the folks I grew up around was my first multiplayer shooter was Counter-Strike because my cousins owned it and I fell in love with it, and then I discovered Quake and whatnot. But at the time, the only non-deathmatch mainstream game I knew of was Team Fortress Classic, and not too many people played it. Fast forward 5 years when the Source Engine, the new one, came out. Team Fortress 2 was and is huge, and the only way you can play deathmatch is on some custom maps. It has no game mode called deathmatch. So I feel like there's a few genre-defining games, and something like Team Fortress 2 is one of them. In the sense that it helped shift away from the whole kill people, get points, win the game. You guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's because up until that point there wasn't too much variety, and then this came out, and then whoa, sort of thing, and it became huge really fast.
I don't know if it's just me, but I'm starting to see that because Evan was mentioning something about how basically there was a time period where there wasn't really anything innovative. I think this ties back to what we talked about earlier with Minecraft.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, everyone's just exploding with different ideas, and now they're allowed to be exploring creatively. And I don't know if that's
That happened. The year was 2007, and everything went insane. 2007 is the year of video games. That year was incredible.
That was a good year.
Give me a specific or a couple.
Orange Box, BioShock, Call of
Thank you.
Duty 4.
There we go.
Those
That's the year I
three.
was thinking. I wasn't sure if that was 07 or 08.
It was 07.
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's just the point I was getting at. Really, I'm not sure how right I am. It's just kind of based on my personal experience.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think eventually do you think there's at a point in time where people will just generally get bored of deathmatch, and then it probably won't even be provided as a game mode anymore for multiplayer matches? What do you guys think?
I don't think this will ever be provided as a game mode.
Yeah, I don't
but-
think they can just scrap it because it's the easiest one to implement.
Yeah, people at the end of the day, Like, it's
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Evan.
like people want variety, and I think that this will always be there. It's like it's kind of the most basic multiplayer. It's just two teams shoot people, and other people might want a little bit more, but I think it'll always be there for sure.
It's also by far the best version of your after work get home and just screw around mode.
Yeah.
Right, of just, I get home and I don't want to go have to capture some stuff. Like you just blow half an hour just shooting dudes. Just go shoot some dudes. And I think that there's definitely merit to that, right? Yeah.
Unless you're playing some sort of ranked deathmatch, then it's just all the stress.
Yeah. Either way, I think that there's definitely always going to be a place for it, but I think as games evolve, we're going to see more. So we're going to see more innovative and interesting game modes.
Yeah.
Which I think has always been true.
Yeah, we're seeing things like the game evolve, literally
Yes.
evolve, like
Yeah.
where it's asynchronous. There's more people trying. Like before, it was like
cool.
Splinter Cell did it like asynchronous, Mercs versus Spies, but everyone else is like, I don't even want to touch that. Now people are like, fuck it, one monster, 4 humans, do it, deathmatch, let's
Wait,
do it.
do you mean asynchronous in the sense that teams are
Not the same. Like,
Yeah,
they're
doing different
completely
things.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant not the same amount. Because I'm like Spies versus Mercs, it's still like 2v2, 4v4, but like
No. Asynchronous just means that there's two different teams. They might have different and they're
oh,
just
completely different
their
equipment.
goals are different
Yeah.
and they're
Okay.
doing different things, right?
Okay.
A good. Oh wait, no, I'm not gonna. The viewers won't know what I'm talking about. Woo!
I'm really excited for Evolve now that you've brought that back up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So I think we're pretty much in agreement here about deathmatch.
I think it's gonna be here to stay, even if it's something that's like Amel said, like it's definitely the easiest thing to develop for, and it's probably, if anything, even if deathmatch is gone, say for instance from like the game mode, I think it still will exist as a basis of most of the competitive multiplayer shooters. So to kind of give an example to that, attrition in Titanfall, where you basically have grunts, minions kind of thing. Both teams have to achieve 300 points. Shooting a minion gives you 1. Destroying a Titan gives you 5. Killing a pilot gives you 4. So there's still deathmatch elements that exist in attrition. It's just that your focus is a lot broader now than just, say, for instance, just killing players.
And that's true for most of these games that change up the gameplay a lot. Like, as much as Team Fortress 2, you want to go and do whatever game mode you're playing, it is still incredibly beneficial to keep firing at the enemies. If you don't do that, you're gonna lose. And in Destiny as well, like you still gain points for killing enemies. In Control, that still is a majority of what you're doing. It's just that now, in Deathmatch, you can pretty much just sit in an area as a team and defend this point and do well. Because there's in Control now, it creates this element of, oh, I need to get from point A to B, so I need to leave this comfort zone that I've gotten here and go and attack, or else I'm going to lose regardless, right? No matter how well I can defend point A, point B and C are taken.
And there will be players along your way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although to be honest, if you're talking about pro competitive multiplayer, do you mean like the pro scene when you say competitive? Or do you mean just like?
Okay.
Well,
I mean, there's two sides of competitiveness. There's like you said, the MLG scene. Then there's people who just want to have positive KDRs, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought you meant pro stuff. And to be honest, I don't see first-person shooter. Like, if Call of Duty couldn't do it, if Team Fortress couldn't do it,
They're trying to do Counter-Strike. Valve says they want to set up something equivalent to the International for Counter-Strike. I'm really interested to see how that goes. I think that should be another topic that we do new when this starts to come out, because there's so many reasons why Dota and StarCraft are professional games and first-person shooters aren't.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin.
Interesting. I like to have this discussion because I don't see this different. I actually thought the opposite. I would like to see Counter Strike kind of picking up the competitors and just.
I would like to. I just don't know how. Based on what is popular and based on what Counter Strike is, I'd be very surprised if it makes it.
Yeah.
That's not me saying that I don't want it to make it. It's me just saying I'd be very surprised.
Interesting.
Anyways, we kind of got off topic there.
It's all good.
All right, so wrap things up. What do you guys think of deathmatch? Do you think it's still going to be around? Yeah,
Probably.
Give us
basically.
a time frame. In how long?
I honestly
If that
just want to
matters.
say that it's basically going to be around for ever in one way, shape,
Okay.
or another. Unless,
Yeah, then because that was going to be my response anyway, so.
yeah,
So then
I-
time doesn't really matter.
don't think it's going to go away. So Kotaku, I don't think you got it right on this one.
I think that article. I don't think that they're predicting that. I think they're more just kind of
Contemplating?
conversation. Trying to bring
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
conversation.
Like we are right now.
You think?
Pointing out
Yeah.
pointing out a trend essentially.
Right.
Definitely,
Which I mean, they are correct about.
definitely excited to see new multiplayer waves. Will miss deathmatch though, and please, people still play deathmatch so I can have some noobs to kill.
Sometimes
Maybe
it's the
you
best,
are the
best
one
way
that
to
is the
get you.
noob.
Yeah,
So
arguably.
that'd be. I don't play deathmatch. I'm actually that person who. I'm actually excited for the new Call of Duty. I'll play the single player campaign, and to be honest, I probably will never touch multiplayer. I will.
Actually, that's another interesting question. How often do you guys play deathmatch now? Like,
I don't. Destiny right now is the most, and League of Legends is the closest thing to deathmatch I get to.
Destiny, I play deathmatch when I have a bounty to do deathmatch,
Yeah, exactly.
or it's the daily, or it's whatever. By the way, we have to do the dailies.
Yes.
Emil?
I'm thinking. I don't. When we played gun game in CS the other day, does that count?
Yes.
I think that's still something built on top of deathmatch because
Yeah.
as much as you have to kill people,
You get more stuff out of it rather than just
Yeah.
kill things.
yeah.
Then I honestly can't remember.
But it is a variant of deathmatch. Like it definitely
Yeah.
could be argued.
Yeah, Justin, I couldn't tell you because honestly, I don't even play competitive shooters anymore, so I don't have an answer. A long time ago, probably.
Yeah, no, I still play a good decent amount of Titanfall. As shocker
But
as
you
that
don't-
might be.
But you don't play deathmatch though. 'Cause that was the
Right,
question, wasn't it?
right, but I mean, attrition is more or less deathmatch plus
True.
other sources of victory. So
True. I guess if you want to say that, then the last time I played Titanfall with you, which was last week,
was that last week?
with you, because I don't know how much you played since then.
Oh, I don't even remember anymore.
Okay, because I pick it up when you're around, basically.
All right then.
That time. So basically, my current deathmatch game or deathmatch close variant would be Titanfall, which is roughly once a week.
Yeah, it does some pretty cool things with what I do with deathmatch, and I hope to see kind of that evolve. Anyways, off topic. We're not here to
that's fair.
advertise Respawn.
I mean, we can, but
We can, but it's only one game. We can't praise them yet.
yeah.
Alright.
No, I guess that's what I got for you.
All right. So that's about it from us. Thank you to our viewers to watching it this far. We are basically still trying to figure out how casual we want to be and trying to figure out the article structure. So if there's any time in shape or form, if you guys have any questions you guys want to ask us, we are completely open to kind of segue from our usual just news kind of stuff to kind of talk about topics that we haven't discussed yet. Or maybe there's just something you guys want, just anything at all. Just tweet, Facebook, whatever. Social media stuff is in the description down below. Let's check the website. I think the last thing that was uploaded was Andrew's esports thing. That's officially public now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, that's about it. Okay. Evan, when do you think you'll have that infamous Last of Us video up?
I need to play it again a little bit more because the last time I played it was when it was released. So I need to get my PS3, just pop it in for maybe 2 hours, and then I'll have plenty to rant about. Don't worry. No, but I just need to remind myself of that game a little bit more, and then I'll put it up. Me and Andrew are thinking of doing something with Destiny. That'll be up soon. Unfortunately, school makes me busy, which sucks. But yeah.
And I'll eventually do something about StarCraft. I think I'm gonna do that this weekend. Not 100% sure yet. I get tired the moment I get home from work. It's pretty stupid.
Yeah, work does that sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, but that's it from us. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Share this video. Let people know about Feminist Frequency. Watch with an open mind. All right. Bye.
Eat more tomatoes.
Eat less tomatoes. They're weird.
Hey.
You can
All right.
cut it now.
Bye bye.